Are you considering about moving to or moving around Kansas City? Well, in this video, we're going to be diving into the quality of life, whether you're moving to the area or just moving around the area. It's going to be a nice refresher course, maybe give you a different perspective as to what Kansas City has to offer. And overall, if you're looking to downsize or upsize, this will give you everything you possibly need to know. And if you're like, man, who is this guy? Well, I want to introduce myself. I'm Big Mike. I'm a local Kansas City real estate agent, and I help people all the time moving to and around Kansas City. So it would be nothing to be able to help you too. But let's go ahead and dive in. As the first one we're going to be diving into is cost of living here in the Kansas City, Missouri area. So it's no surprise. The first reason is obviously going to be the affordability factor. Kansas City is actually marketed 8% under all the major other cities across the United States. So you can have your dollar stretch a little bit more. And on top of that, Kansas City, Missouri side, actually compared to the Kansas side alone, way lower taxes. And that's not just because of property values, but that's just overall from what the state to state has to offer. Now, just to give you a little bit of perspective, let's say you're moving from Los Angeles or New York or maybe Seattle or Miami. A starter home there, let's say $1 million mark, that is a modern day mansion. I mean, that is, you have the best type of area that you're living in. You have, like, that's how much your dollar stretches. To get a starter home here, you're looking at maybe $300,000 on the very high side. And there are a lot more properties under, but basically that 300 to about 500 range is where the majority of people moving from come to settle at. The dollar stretches so much more and you get so much house normally with so much more land than all these bigger and more expensive areas. Now, if you didn't think it could get any better, I just want to say, so the cost of living just in general, let's say milk, eggs, fuel, Kansas City is a hub. Every single truck comes here from the middle. If you're going from the East Coast to the West Coast, or the West Coast to the East Coast, or the North Coast, or the South Coast, or whatever it may be, you have to come through Kansas City. So we get everything drops off. It removes so much more of the shipping expense compared to these other more populated and more longer areas. So just the overall just cost of living is way more down compared to, let's say, New York or California, for example. Now, from a real estate perspective, the housing prices haven't jumped up to where some other places have. So Kansas City has risen, just like every other place for real estate, but not as much as some other places have. I mean, we're talking about Kansas City was one of the lowest raised prices across the entire United States. We are still growing, even though some of these other places have severely calmed down. And we're probably going to continue to grow because we have not anywhere close caught up to the rest of America. But that is why it's so important to get your homes on social media. You never know who's looking. And if you only use the local MLS, you're only going to be doing local business. To have a global presence, man, that really just showcases how much more important it is to not only attract the right people if you're looking to sell, but also find properties that nobody else even knows could be for sale. And that's where I come in. It's just really important to find someone that's willing to hustle for you. Now, I get asked quite a bit, Big Mike, is it a good time to buy? How's the market? Truth be told, it's never a perfect time to buy. It's never a perfect time to sell. What I tell people is when you are ready to make a move and you're serious about it, that's when the perfect time is. Perfect time isn't a perfect time in history. The perfect time is when are you ready to make a move? Because you can always wait, and you may wait indefinitely, or you may have to wait tomorrow. Either way, are you going to be ready? You could go ahead and pull a trigger right now. You have now moved on to your next journey. You have now done what you wanted to do, and you now no longer have to think about, oh man, all this big items of moving, which is one of the 3 biggest stressors in somebody's life. You no longer have to think about that day in and day out. You get it done, you get it over with. If you already think about doing something, at what point are you going to be like, you know what? I'm done thinking about it. I'm going to start making a move. That's where I come into play. Sometimes people have analysis paralysis going on, need to find out everything. Just reach out to me. That part's extremely easy. We get a plan figured out, get a move figured out. Even if you're like 6 months, maybe a year away, reach out to me. I can go ahead and get you everything that you need to know, and you don't even have to think twice about it. Now, I'm not the type of guy to sell you on anything. I don't care to. What I am going to do is tell you the good, honest truth that if something it does not make sense, you will know about it. I'd rather be hated for telling you the truth than be loved for telling you a lie. So realistically, I survive and live off my word, and I believe my word is my bond. So just to give you a perspective as to who you're dealing with on the other side. Now, Kansas City neighborhoods are all throughout. It depends on what you like. If you say, hey, I want to find Victorian houses, we have an area for that. If you say, man, I want to find suburban houses, we got an area for that. If you're like, man, I want to go luxury, I want to get populated, I want to not deal with neighbors, we want to go rural, we want to go urban, we want to go whatever you decide, we have it all in Kansas City. If you want to stay downtown, we can make it happen. Suburbia, where I live, we can make it happen. And then even if you want, like, let's say a house with a little bit of acreage, we can find that for you. But as we get closer to the city, the more expensive it gets for the more land you get. So just to give you perspective as to how the pricing works, heart of Kansas City sitting on an acre is going to be way more than sitting 30 minutes from Kansas City North. So there's so many different neighborhoods. I mean, the top neighborhoods here in the Northland, you're probably talking Shoal Creek Valley, Thousand Oaks, Staley Farms, Woodneath Farms, Copperleaf. There's so many different options. It's kind of what are you looking for? If you want to go to Lee Summit, Winterset Valley, Winterset Park, those are two phenomenal neighborhoods. And it just continues to expand. Like Kansas City's area is exploding because everyone now realizes Kansas City is probably the place to buy for the forthcoming future. Now, some of the trends that Kansas City has going on. So I was mentioning from the beginning of the video how Kansas City has not caught up to the rest of the country. We still have been melting up. So we're in September 2024 with this video. The average house on the market definitely has went up here in Kansas City, but nothing like the rest of the country. We're still melting up instead of massive price corrections. It's still rising compared to other places actually falling. I mean, the numbers just got released recently. I think we raised like 2% month over month, which is absolutely insane, especially you people looking at like California, New York, Seattle, these more overpopulated areas that have had way more way more demand than supply. We are just now starting to kind of get a little bit of a supply increase, but the demand is still hot. Now, if you're looking to sell your house and you're just sitting there kind of interviewing some people on YouTube, now this may be the time to sell. And the reason for it is you never know after an election what's going to happen. On top of that, with the housing prices slowly melting up, this is the time where if you price aggressively, you cannot underprice a house. But if you price aggressively, people are still willing to overbid. That's the point that some of these other places, nobody's overbidding. So if you are thinking about selling, this may be an opportunity just get a CMA real quick on your property. See where you stand, see what numbers would look like for you and your family to move on to your next destination. And I can definitely give that for you. Just reach out. Now, if you're not a workaholic like I am, it's not healthy. I'm single trying to grow my business. But with that being said, if you do have like a family and you do love work-life balance, every single day of the week, there's something going on in Kansas City. To get downtown, you're talking about 20 minutes. When you want to get out to the country, you're talking about 20 minutes. Where I live in Gladstone, Missouri. I'm 20 minutes any direction, and I'm exactly where I want to be. I can go party down at Power and Light. I can go party down in Westport. There's so many events going on. Let's say Crown Center, Union Station. Let's say Lee Summit normally has like an event once a month. Go hang out with some buddies there. Smithville always has an event, normally about the start and the end of summer. Smithville Lake's up there. Heck, there is so many different options. There's so much fun here locally. I'm not sure how these other bigger cities compare, but Kansas City just has so much compacted. And if you ever wanted to be just a tourist in your area, this is the place to be. There's so much activity to happen. Type in best things to visit while in Kansas City. All you're going to have is back-to-back traveling destinations that will literally keep you busy all day long. Now, if you are someone with like kiddos that will be going to school, the top school district in the area is Lee Summit. You can find that on niche.com. So I actually graduated from Park Hill and Park Hill South specifically. I'm so thankful I went to that school. It's the Park Hill School District. It actually specializes in like Parkville, North Kansas City areas, things of that nature. That's where I graduated from. It was a phenomenal district for me. You could easily go to Oak Park High School. Staley is probably the number one high school in the Kansas City Northland area. Liberty's a hot one. Kearney, Smithville, they're all hot. I'm in the Kansas City Northland area, so that's where I specialize in. So all these school districts are highly sought after for everyone around, and they don't push certain values on other people, and that's why it's so highly sought after. On top of that, the teachers care. So I'm not sure if you're like inner city. Whenever you start to get inner city down here, the teachers stop caring so much, but not up here in the Northland. It's kids are always going to be kids, but the parents know that their kids are getting a quality education, which is the most important thing for them to have a successful life. Now, cultures definitely became a big thing in the Kansas City staple. So if you're, let's say, love jazz, you love the jazz district, we got it. Let's say you love comedy. There are so many different comedy shops, we got it. Let's say you love barbecue. Kansas City's always known for the barbecue. Got to bring it out. We got it. Let's say you love the Italian food. We got it. We love Mexican food. We got an entire street dedicated. We got it. It's whatever you want. Let's say, man, you hate people. We got country. Let's say I love to have a strong community of people around me, but not too close where I could touch their house. We got it. Let's say you're like, I want to live in condos with a bunch of other people around me. We got it. Literally everything that could fit to every single person's need or want, Kansas City has it. And if you are just like, man, you know what, I'm kind of playing with the idea of moving, reach out to me. Ask me more questions than you could ever fathom, and I could give you more answers than you could even imagine. So I'd love to just have a quick conversation. Now, I hope you got some value from this video, and I know it's to the person that's probably watching this that is already from the area, there's nothing new here for you to find out. It's definitely unique information. Now, if you are moving, let's say from a different area and you're just like, man, you know what? I don't really know anything. I'm nervous as hell about everything. And you're like, man, I just need to find someone that I know I can trust to get shit done. Man, reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation real quick. And even if it doesn't work out, I have no problem telling you, hey, this ain't going to work out for us. So it's easy to walk away. But just to let you know. Now, if you'd like to apply with me, my information's down below. Just reach out to me. Tell me what you got going on. I'd love to have just a quick conversation. If you are trying to buy new construction, I got a guide down below. And then past that, Big Mike is out.